myself Vaibhav. In today's session, we are seeing the Euro USD looking to rise beyond the 1.18 level, and it looks likely after this consolidation, which has lasted for last couple of weeks, closer to 1.175, we can finally expect a sound base formation and on the higher side, we can expect a move towards 1.19 and in course of time, even 1.2 can be retested again. So we will be looking for the trading opportunities and what are the levels which are likely to provide us optimum entry and exit points in today's session of market movers. If we look at the data rocket for the day, apart from these releases for the US, we didn't really get major market moving data points earlier in the Asian as well as in the European trading hours. And now, if we look at the US data points, there is some moderation in the durable goods order growth for the month of June. We have the growth of 0.8%, but it is a lot lower compared to the growth of 3.2%, which we had seen for the month of May. But that was a sharp jump, and in the prior month, that is for the month of April, the decline was observed, and then after that decline, the May's number were kind of turned around, and now you can say that these numbers for the June are sort of consolidation after the prior growth, and in next couple of months we will see how this equation plays out. If we look at the conference board's consumer confidence index, it has risen to 129.1, and this is almost close to the pre-pandemic days, and this is coming after the prior number of close to 128, and that was also upwardly revised for the month of June. The exact reading is at 128.9. And now that we have this consumer confidence index closer to the pre-pandemic days, I think this is indicative of the fact that most people in the United States are feeling quite confident. And if we see this ongoing optimism continuing for next couple of months, then most of the problems of the pandemic, like rising unemployment and other bottlenecks, are likely to go away. And in near term, this boom is also going to cast the upward pressure on the price front, but that is likely to ease in course of time. Now let's shift our attention to the technical side. First, we will consider the outlook for the Euro USD, and after that, we will also take a look on the Germany's leading equity index of DAX. Let's see what's happening in the Euro USD. This is the daily time frame chart, and in the last session, I think it was yesterday only, we had talked about the base formation closer to 1.175, and I had also pointed to the good buying opportunity closer to 1.177 to 1.178 price band, and that's where we have seen the Euro USD finding buying in today's session, and it has moved sharply on both the occasions, but I think that level was key from where we had the stop loss price quite close, and whenever we have to take the trade, we do have to keep in mind the stop loss level, as any trade can go wrong, and that's why we try to optimize our entries to make sure that losses, if it comes our way, the loss should be quite lower compared to the rewards which we might gain. Now, looking at its current price formation, I think we are in in a rising probability of a retracement on the higher side, and we have seen this consolidation in a very narrow range for last couple of weeks. And if we look at the price formation closer to 1.175, this looks like a solid support on the lower side. So unless and until there is a clear cut breakout on the lower side, we can take our chances and try to go long closer to these prior swing lows. And now that we have a move closer to 1.18 and even beyond that, we will have to mostly rely on the lower time frame charting to look at what are the possible levels in which we can think about getting involved for a new trade in EURUSD. If you consider this regression curve, it has flattened and now it is starting to incline on the higher side. And if the price action sustains in the upper band, then I think we will have more reasons to believe, be more confident of a upward move in course of time in next couple of days. If we look at the pivot point series, the first support is almost 100 pips away from the current valuation. So that's not really going to be helpful. But we do have to keep in mind that the price action is happening in this bearish bracket. So we do have to be mindful of that. And rather than going for any big swing trade, it will be prudent for us to keep ourselves limited to the scalping opportunities and try to get involved for the trade. Only when we see that stop loss level is quite sharp, and to that extent we can rely on this SMA formation. We have these three SMAs converging closer to 1.179, and if we look at the current price formation, the euro USD is not really far off from these levels, so we can target here closer to this convergence zone. And on the lower side we do have the support closer to these prior swing lows. So taking all these factors in account, we can take our chances. And as I said, the stop loss is going to be quite sharp, so we don't have to take much risk. And on the higher side, if we expect this formation of higher highs and higher lows to continue, then we can expect a move towards 1.185 at the minimum, and even beyond that if you are willing to wait, and that might take a couple of days. And even if you are looking from the intraday perspective, even from that point of view, I think this convergence zone is going to provide us a good opportunity to get involved in this trade. Now looking at the equity index of DAX, we have these sharp moves. First we had these decline of almost close to 5 percentage point and then equally sharp retracement. Now we are likely to see the DX consolidating after getting back closer to these 15,500 levels. If you look at the days for price formation, we had these sharp moves, and that's because the DX is trading closer to the resistance zone, and on the higher side it has strong resistance in place. So we are not really looking for any big moves just yet, but maybe for next couple of days it is likely to spend the time in consolidation, and only after that we can expect a big move. So if we have to look at the technicals, we have this pivot point series. The central point is there around 15,500, and this is likely to prove decisive in near term. We can expect the move above it only after due consolidation, and for that we will need the DX to hold steady, hold above this central pivot point. And right now it has shown a break on the lower side, but I think this is not the time to go short on it, but rather than that allow it to consolidate. And if it is able to sustain on the higher side, maybe by the time we come back for trading tomorrow we will have a much more clarity on the price action front, and then we can think about getting involved for a new trade. On the regression curve, there is not much to be read into. We have these almost flat curve, but the inclination has been on the bearish side. But now that the price action is again shifting in the upper band, we can expect it to flatten, and in course of time, if the price action remains strongly biased toward the bullish side, it is going to be turning the corner on the bullish side. And if we have to optimize the entries for this trade, then we will have to keep in mind this 200 SMA, which is close to 15,500. And this can be used as a decisive marker on the lower side. As long as price action remains above it, we can be fairly confident of this recent upward momentum to continue. And in course of time, this prior swing high, this immediate high formed on the Friday session, can be expected to retest it again. And if that is the probability, we will be in a position to profit almost 2 percentage point from the current levels. We can look for a trade closer to this 15,500 level, and on the higher side we can target the levels close to the all-time highs, and on the lower side the stop loss is not going to be much wider. I think a stop loss just little below this immediate swing low, the day's low, should be helpful. But for that we need to allow the DAX to consolidate in today's session, and only after the European session starts tomorrow we should be taking the trade. So that's my take looking at the current price formation of the DAX. If you have any query or any idea to share, you can write to me in the feedback section and I will be more than happy to take the discussion forward. Before I sign off, I would also like to remind of the risk associated with trading in the financial instrument, and one should be careful while using the information provided. You can also follow us for further market developments on our analytics page, the Dukas Analytics. And if you want to start trading, the JForex platform is going to make your life a lot easier. We are also present on the Facebook. You can follow our page. Thank you all for joining in. Do come back next time. Till then, goodbye.